It's now 7:02. I hereby call the November 13th, 2024 meeting of the Frostburg Planning Commission to order. We'll start our beginning with a roll call of members present.
Richard Russo.
Eric Stevens.
Conrad Best, Chair.
Karen Crowe.
Jeff Snyder.
Ray Race.
We have a quorum. As we begin, I would ask that anyone presenting business before the commission or individuals who want to comment on business before the commission or other concerns, please come forward to the podium at the appropriate time. State your name and address for the record. Each meeting is recorded, so please speak loudly and clearly. Okay. First item on our agenda is the approval of the September Planning Commission meeting minutes. You each have a copy of them in front of you. Take a moment, review them.
That was pretty cut and dry. I would make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Been moved and second. We approve the minutes from the September 11th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstained. Motion carries. Okay, next item is citizens' comments, and you're probably not here as a citizen, you're for the next one. Okay. And then the next one is projects. Request for a favorable recommendation to the Board of Zoning. I'm sorry, I'm reading the last one. Sketch plan for vertical converting additions. Go on, sir.
Conrad, I need to.
Recuse yourself, right.
Good evening, my name is Adam Felty. My address 2205 Old Philadelphia Pike, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm the Director of Construction for Vertical Converting, otherwise known as Sierra Hygiene here in Frostburg, along with partner in Calumet Enterprises, which is the real estate holding company for the property, representing Craig Clark, who is the owner of all the business entities on the real estate and the manufacturing side. We're
Came
here.
from quite a distance.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up.
Right. I make plenty of trips up here to visit, and we also have the Cumberland 11700 Mexico Farms Road distribution center, which is Webstron store, which is also one of our entities here locally. We're here tonight to present to you an addition to our existing facility that's located at 11201 Hoffman Hollow Road, an industrial park. And basically what we do currently, we bought Sierra Hygiene back at the end of 2020, and we're in the restaurant distribution world. We have our online Webstron store and the restaurant store, which is our brick and mortar entity. What we learned from the pandemic was any imported material was hard to get, and it was a liability to our business model. So part of that was bringing back domestic manufacturing in any capacity that we could. Part of that was purchasing Sierra Hygiene at the end of 2020. They were, at the time, producing about 100,000 cases of toilet paper and rolled paper towels, different forms of commercial rolled paper towel out of that factory. And then we expanded that operation and added 2 lines, and currently looking at doing about 500,000 cases currently in its form. We're almost at full production, even though it's been 2 or 3 years later. And with the ongoing increase in the demand within our restaurant and our distribution, we're looking to expand our operations by taking half of this expansion for manufacturing and then half for storage. If you see on the drawing, it has the line down the middle. That's basically depicting a firewall separation between F1 factory and then S1 high pile storage. The idea being that the factory side, we have all those operations on the existing the new factory, and then our finished goods and raw products will be on the floor.
So these are all still paper products?
Yes, so basically we're expanding our manufacturing lines for our existing products, both toilet paper and the paper towel and rolled paper towel. Basically, one of the mistakes that we made in our initial design was changeovers. So we would have a toilet paper line and then have to convert that over to paper towel. And the downtime and the changing and everything over for that, we found, is not the most efficient way to do it. So we wanted to keep that operation locally to what we already have, keep the same management in place, and expand our operations, which would include additional employment. I can go over I'll start with the employment numbers, just to give you a background of kind of where we are and where we're going from that perspective. Our current employee count for the operations now under full production is 43. We run 2 10-hour shifts, Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Each shift basically has, give or take, on full capacity, 22 people on shift. That's important mainly for the changeovers when it relates to the planning commission and parking, and that we have half an hour overlap. Some people show up immediately, some people are 15 minutes behind on their show up time, but for the most part, the biggest impact that we've seen so far is 44 people on a changeover where it requires everyone at once for a meeting or some type of training, or everyone's there at once. With the expanded facility and the additional production lines, we're estimating that we would bring in to the new facility 12 people per shift with 3 shifts. So we'd have a total of 36 additional new hires with this facility over 3 shifts. So total employees for what we'll call both sites, even though it's more of an addition, it's all one operation. And you'll see there on the drawing, it's connected by a tunnel. They're not actually buildings up against each other. There's a fire separation between them with a fire tunnel and fire door separation. But in total, we'd have 80 people. And with the new facility, it's basically, we're estimating about 12 people per shift spread out into that 3-shift form. We also currently have a weekend shift from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and there's only 5 people on the weekends that run. A lot of that is more maintenance, stand down, inventory adjustments, things like that. They're not running full production over the weekends. The size of the building, 168,000 square foot, fully sprinkled building. We're anticipating it would be an ESFR sprinkler system. We're still working through the design of that, but that's what we're anticipating with the S1 high pile storage. 84,000 F1, 84,000 S1 connected with the tunnel. We're showing 18 loading docks, and it's located in the Technology Light Industrial Zoning District. The total property area is 12.2 acres. And additionally, we are showing the fire apparatus access road showed per the NFPA Chapter 18 requirements around the building. So basically what that's going to do is give the fire department full access per the requirements at, I believe it's 400 feet around the building.
Through all the parking lots there.
Yep. And if you notice that the building itself was positioned off tight to the property line there, part of that was because we are encroaching into a small area of wetland, and we're going through the process with the Department of Environmental Protection and filing the proper paperwork to mitigate that appropriately. It's not a huge area, but it's a small area there to that existing, we'll call it pond, that the county still owns.
That's to the south?
That's, yes, so over, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Allegheny County still owns that pond that's naturally occurring here.
Okay.
And that's why the property was shifted more this way. To minimize the impact to the wetland area. For Parking, we currently have 56 parking spots in the current form. The proposed for manufacturing is 82, and for warehousing is 42. Total required is 174. We're showing 160 parking spots currently, 14 shy. And on the drawing, if I'm point to it so it's a little bit easier to show,
Sure.
this section down here is proposed as a future parking lot. And mainly because if I put my Calumet hat on from a real estate developer and from the planning commission, you build a building this size, if the use of change and it's not manufacturing or someone else leases the building out, the parking always becomes a problem. For our future need, we know that we don't need that much parking per zoning, but what we want to do is be able to plan for it as far as stormwater and area in this lot, what we call Lot 5, that if the use or our need changes in the future, that we have the available area to add additional parking. If we were to move our operation out of there, and as Calumet, the real estate holder, we wanted to release that out to somebody else and they needed to require parking, we could meet or exceed the zoning requirements on that.
How many spaces are in that proposed?
We
future lot?
have,
60 in the,
60, I think.
Yeah,
5
60.
lot. So,
Okay.
if I interject here, boss. So, we made some changes the last minute because of some stuff with the fire marshal. We are at 160 regular spaces. We have an additional 5 handicap, and we have a total of 31 truck spaces. So we're total parking spaces, if you include the truck, we're well above what's required for zoning.
Okay.
the other big topic I wanted to go over is the trucks and the truck traffic. I know that's always something that, needs to be taken into consideration. So in our current capacity, we have about 25 trucks in a 4-day work week. The deliveries typically take place between 7 a.m. and the cutoff is 3:30 p.m. So we're averaging about 6 trucks per day coming in and out of the site. We anticipate that with the new site to basically double to where the new facility would also have 25 trucks per week, about 6 per day. So we'd be looking in and out of that site a total of 12 trucks per day at max capacity when it's completely built out. The entryway though, half of those trucks would go in to the circle and access the back end of the new facility, and the other half would be entering in off of Hoffman Hollow Road into the existing loading dock area. We don't anticipate with our business model, it's not like full distribution. You're familiar with the site down in Cumberland at the Mexico Farms Road with our distribution. It's nothing like that. That's full online orders, lots of trucks in, lots of trucks out. This on that manufacturing end, the truck total traffic is fairly low for a facility of this size. And we are aware of the recent incidents with trucks leaving out of Hoffman Hollow, going past the garden center and not making the left turn, and then going down. We've had a couple incidents where tractor trailer drivers, not our own, independent drivers, follow their GPS, don't know how to read signs, go down in there and get stuck. I know that the city has set up a new sign indicating for truck drivers all must turn left. We're also being proactive about making sure that the driver, we actually have something printed off for them, the ones that may not be aware of the area or be able to read signs as well as they should, that they don't go down that road. We'll put it that way. But we're proactive about that and realize that that's not something the residents that live down that road want to deal with, and nor should they have to. That covers my rundown. I'd be happy to answer any questions, cover anything that I didn't ramble about already.
Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking for preliminary approval on today, or is this final?
This is not final,
Okay.
but I believe not, like,
I mean, if you wanna give us final, we'll take a conditional final.
I didn't know if there was.
We're not far enough along in the stormwater.
Yeah, I didn't think you were.
I'm just going to.
I was just curious, in terms of trash service, is that, you're self-contained in terms of,
Yeah, so,
city has no obligation?
no, not for trash, because we hire, a lot of the waste that we make, we call them cookies, coming off of the rolls that get cut off. So we've been working hard to find recycling partners where it gets loaded into container trucks and then picked up so often. So a lot of the excess large quantity waste that we make, we contract with outside sources that take that away and recycle it and use it. We have tubes and other things that come out of there that all need to be recycled, and finding the right partners for that. The general waste created out of there just from municipal, employees, trash cans, it really doesn't generate that much, and we have a trash hauler that takes care of all that.
Anybody have other questions?
Once again, the site is developed, like the last one with, in the industrial area, that they're built out of bags and there's no landscape plants. Is there any chance of shading of the pavement? I mean, that's all impervious surfaces there. Just wondered if there'll be a landscape plan?
We'll most certainly have one at the end, but in the parking lots, you're not gonna see islands.
No.
You just can't work tractor trailers around them.
No, there's not room, I can see.
So, and, basically, where we can keep the trees, we'll keep the trees, keep the wetland out. And we do, as you can see, there's a lot of ponds that'll be going in. That kind of development.
I, for one, on the expanded parking, future parking area.
Right.
If it all, and work with Ray on this, but if that's future and we didn't have to do any modification, I'd be a proponent of leaving all that woods area there, other than what we'd have to do to the stormwater.
Yeah, we'll
And
cut a
just-
little bit out for the pond, because we want to put that in to make it easier for whoever comes in after us.
Right.
So, but, all in all, we'll throw some trees in, but you're not gonna see a lot of landscaping like this, because it is an industrial park. So,
The area off to here, though, this is all wooded.
yeah, it's completely wooded all the way around, and then
Nice.
this will remain wooded down through here, this is all wooded here. Basically, wherever we don't have any grading going on, it'll remain in the same condition it is right now. Interestingly, this, from what we found, was part of a coal mining operation, so we are dealing with some foundation issues through here. There was some surface mining that was done, and a lot of gob piles that are left in between that we have to deal with. So, yeah, it was.
Surprise.
Yeah, well, we knew about it going in.
Right.
Due diligence was done. The county was made aware of it, and let's just say the county, I think, treated you guys fairly well.
Yeah, we purchased this plot of land from the county, and they worked with us on that, and have been a great partner since our original purchase of Sierra Hygiene, back in 2020.
It's a real asset.
Yeah, and it's county economic development.
Yeah.
So it's good to see the partnership.
Did they finish their building over right next to here?
The county one?
Yeah.
Oh, they've been in there for some time now.
Okay. I
I
never
don't know if
see anything
I don't know
there.
if both
Talking
sides
about
of the
Clem?
building are being used,
this one?
They finished around the same time because we were under construction around the same time, so that 21 to 22 time.
This is Berkeley Springs, right? Okay.
Yeah, Berkeley Instruments.
Chair would entertain a favorable motion on this project.
I'll make a recommendation to accept the plans as presented for preliminary approval.
I'd second the motion.
Moved and seconded that we approve these plans on a preliminary basis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Me.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for coming all the way down.
Yeah. I will be on my way, I think, about a 3-hour drive.
Oh, drive safe.
Yeah, that's not, of all the drives and all areas I go, it's not the worst, even though the time, but the drive itself is not bad.
Depending on the weather.
Notice
That's true.
we're not meeting in the middle of January.
Well, we built the first edition in the middle of the winter, and I learned why it's called Frostburg.
Oh.
Yes. That was a rough winter.
Right. You all have a good evening, thank you.
Take
All
care.
right, okay. Okay, discussion items. Anybody have
Yeah,
anything?
I got something now.
Okay.
So Conrad, you kind of hit on this by looking at what's left in there. Frostburg's going to be out of the industrial area. We don't have a whole lot left in TLI. So maybe, working on our comp plan and that, maybe that's something we need to look at is bringing in some area outside of the town in our boundaries and possibly looking at encouraging some more development, because there's 2 lots left out here and they're really not ideal. There's some issues with them.
Let's see, because I was going to say, I mean, ideally, I think we'd want to keep everything, here. And then the other one I was going to recommend is, at some point, we are going to have to look at the road going back out to 36.
Oh, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, you start thinking about truck traffic and I mean, ideally, that's what we want. I mean, we want the development here for what we can get here. But, at some point, and I know State Highway is that, is that partner in that, but yeah, at some point, that's gonna have to be pushed and looked at. And I know we've talked about that before, but as we're doing the comp plan.
Is part of that area where you come up to Burger King, the road
That's what,
continues long enough, is that supposed to be part of this,
So the road in behind, where the road cuts off and goes, where Smitty's tire is there, that first right, I can't remember.
no, I was talking about it, if you're
Oh,
going up,
okay.
if you're going up to Burger King,
Between
The-
Burger King and the.
Oh,
well,
okay.
you could go straight, it's laid out and paved like the
Yeah.
road could
I think
continue up
there's
over.
a commercial lot that's up there behind the muffler shop, or the old muffler shop, that was available, but I don't think anything's ever been done with it.
Is it actually, is it in the city or?
I don't think it's even in the city. Yeah, see, there's a lot behind the
Okay,
the hotel that could be developed. But I
Okay.
don't know if that is that in our city limits or not? Oh, that's all private. The Allegheny Coral land, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't,
okay.
it says town none, so it's not city.
Okay, I guess the blue line is, but I guess that next lot right beside Burger King though is in the city, right?
This one?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
one right there.
that is in the city, right?
No.
Oh,
And
okay.
according to this, it's not.
Okay.
I always wondered because the road is laid out so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
there's no curb there, it continues
All right,
on up.
so
Yeah,
that's,
it's out of the city.
Yeah.
well, maybe that's something we need to think about.
So that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at, is we need
Yeah.
to encourage that area there to come into the city, where at least if we can write it into the comp plan,
And
then that makes, bringing excuse me, if I understand it right, we can't bring stuff into the city unless it shows in our comp plan.
And a comp plan.
So that area there needs to be looked at and brought into the city.
Because again, that's the only piece there on 36 that's not connected to the city. It's
Yeah.
sort of an enclave that should be.
And you think that would be squared off?
Yeah.
That big lawn in front of Hampton Inn, is that available, or is that,
On Summer Road,
does Hampton Inn have that whole parcel?
that is changing.
What's that again?
That big lawn in front of,
This one?
yeah, in front of
It's
Hampton
showing
Inn.
it's showing as one parcel.
Yeah, that was supposed to be for a restaurant and never got developed.
That's what I was thinking, is, the,
Yeah.
you know, the restaurant.
What is going on, across from,
Smitty's Tire.
Smitty Tire right now? They're putting an entrance in there.
They are.
Yeah, they're putting an entrance in. That's what
Yeah.
I was
From
told.
what I've heard, they're just improving the entrance in hopes of attracting somebody in there. Like
Okay.
doing that preliminary work. 'Cause we checked into it because I saw the work going on and I thought it might need something with permitting, but it's all within the state's right of way. It's just the entrance on, you know, within the right of way that they're improving currently.
So the state's doing the improving?
No, the owners are.
Well, technically, that still requires permits from the city. Yeah, you guys should have a grading permit on that.
Okay, I mean, cause we were not certain whether, like, when it's completely within the state's right of way. but I
Doesn't
mean,
matter, and anyone that would be exempt from the permit would be the state themselves, so if the state's
Okay.
doing the work, they're exempt from the permit. But if an individual's doing the work, that still falls under the city's realm. So it's like on Main Street, you know, the connection to Main Street, you still approve a connection to Main Street, and so does State Highway. So, yeah, that should have been a city permit.
Okay, well then I will follow up with that again, cause I talked to, Matt Brewer, cause they had designed it, so I'll follow up with him tomorrow then.
Because who would have signed off for seven erosion control and stormwater? It's probably under 5,000 square feet. Wouldn't be the county, because the county would say it's in the city.
Well, it was under, but they put in silt fence and everything else too, so.
I would assume that they got some kind of permit from the county, or from the county soil conservation district at least. Unless they're under 5,000. If they're under 5,000 square feet disturbance, technically you don't need a permit from soil sediment erosion control. And the city has a 5,000 square foot minimum on the grading permits too. You wouldn't need one, but you think they would at least let you know what was going on.
Yeah, I know that they had talked to Hayden, but they had to talk to us, and then that's whenever I reached out. But yeah, I'll reach out again and let them know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's only, $25 permit.
I was always under the impression that the state said they weren't gonna allow any more permits off that road. Weren't you?
Yes, I was being quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I found it interesting that they were doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something else we need to consider in that comprehensive plan, because we were talking about trying to connect the big lots
Yeah.
area back around so that we could possibly get a light out there
Yes.
at some future point. We need to
At some point.
figure out some way to bring this other one back around too.
At some point, I think they do need to put a light there.
And we either need a light or a roundabout.
Oh, traffic
Yeah.
light.
Traffic, yeah, traffic light.
But with coming out of the industrial park, I think you're gonna want a light instead. You're gonna wanna be able to control that traffic a little better.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
those
make it
trucks-
a lot easier to get a truck out.
They need people to stop, because it's bad enough for,
Although, you know, I was up in Indiana this weekend, and the number of they call them traffic circles
Yeah.
up there. But the number of traffic circles in new developed areas
Yeah.
was, I was astounded. I bet you within probably 5 or 6 miles either direction, there was 10 or 15 of them.
Oh, wow.
Almost all their intersections, they were getting, the main corridors had streetlights, but once you got off the main corridors, for any of the collector type roads, they were all roundabouts. And they were all 2-lane roundabouts. Dedicated like a right turn out of them. It's interesting.
Normally I would agree, but I think here you really want to slow traffic down to a stop. It's a bad intersection.
Yeah, there's some slight
Site-wise.
issues there
Yes.
that are concerns.
If you scroll on down towards McDonald's, I'll show you my other pet peeve is filling the gap is here on the, right there on the right. To me, those parcels right there along the highway should be in the city, because eventually whatever goes in there will get city services.
I agree. Everything on 36 should be.
Yes. Yep, that one.
And that's actually one thing that was discussed before the
Yeah.
comp plan.
Yeah. And again, as we're talking about it,
Speaking of comp plan, we had our, Connor and I had our
Oh.
first meeting with people with comp plan.
It's coming up
I-
next.
Is that on the list?
oh,
Sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Well, yeah, if we're done with the others,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead with the
Okay,
Comp
yeah,
plan.
I can just give a real brief overview and then you guys can expand upon that if you want. But back on, Halloween actually, October 31st, Michael Bayer, the consultant from Wallace Montgomery, he came to do the steering committee kickoff meeting, here at City Hall. Just went over the work plan, the steering committee roles and responsibilities, went over the community survey, which is actually ready to be sent out about any day now. We received word from him just this afternoon that it's ready to go. So that'll be launching very soon. We're not sure exactly which day. But yeah, that was the real quick overview, and if Conrad or Ray want to give any other comments.
I was fairly impressed with their breadth of knowledge. He did a really good on the presentation, was very familiar with Maryland planning's requirements, and so it seemed, so, and had a lot of energy. So that's a good, and it seems like the steering group is a good mix of people from across the board.
I was on the selection committee, and I can tell you that their presentation was by far and away the best one of the three that we had.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I couldn't believe that people with doctorate degrees could turn in some of the stuff that was given to us. That one was, it was painful to read.
Oh, one of the candidates?
One of the three proposals we
It's,
had.
Connor, well, you know from being in the business,
Yeah.
the people who do good work don't necessarily have the best marketing teams. So, it makes a difference. It really does.
Did you get your mini bio in yet?
No, sir, I have not.
I knew there was.
Got mine in and came out a whole lot different person than what I had submitted.
Oh, no.
But the points were there. Well, mine was kind of like an engineer, you know, ding, 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 ding. And it came out as an obituary, I guess. Well, not quite, but.
I'll turn my CV in.
So where are we at in the process?
We are ready, as Jamie pointed out, there is a survey of 26-some questions, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact.
Not all of them apply to but there's a group of 10 or 12 of them, I think, apply to students only, and the rest is for other people that'll be going out now. I'm not sure how we're advertising that.
I believe it's probably going to be like a link on the website, social media, not sure the exact, if there's any other electronic, ways that we're going to be putting it out.
I don't think it really.
This is getting feedback
From everybody,
Yeah,
It's-
the community.
trying to get,
And then there will be, I believe they're going to provide some paper print copies for people who
Yeah,
don't have
just like-
access, but not many. It's just going to be on, kind of on an as-needed basis.
yeah, well, I think the question in my mind is, how are they gonna advertise that this thing is going on,
Yeah.
is the question. Because
I
a lot of
mean,
people around are not on social media.
Yeah.
They can put anything in the paper.
I mean, I would assume it would be prudent to do that.
I'm kind of curious,
Yeah.
how many people here, besides for myself, actually still get the Common Times news? Okay.
No,
City.
electronic.
Huh? Oh, you get it electronic? Yeah, I mean, you say it's social media, a lot of people. I wonder what the juncture is from where the print media and the social media, what age gap are they overlapping? Where are you seeing? Because I think you have to, in this area, you have to hit the paper, get a write-up on it, and don't put a URL code in or something like that, a snap picture, so someone on their phone, my parents would never figure that out, I can tell you that right now. I mean, it has to be something easy for them to do. So, put the phone number in if you want a survey, and then the city will deliver you a survey. Yeah, something like that. That's
that's
about
a-
the only way I see that happening.
A written survey, are there going to be group meetings, brainstorming sessions?
Yeah, I think the first thing is they were planning like what they call a listening session. It's kind of a follow-up to the surveys where they get the survey data and they bring in and they talk about those things and they facilitate discussion among the residents. But once again, as we see here, the number of people that are interested and they're usually intimately involved in the projects anyway. Whether they serve on like a board like this or on Historic District Commission, those are the kind of people you expect. The thing where we need to reach out is, the people who own the houses that are renting, the people who have lived here for 30 years, the people who just came in. What are they looking at? What attracted them to Frostburg? That's the kind of stuff we need to find out. What was there was a new thing the MVP put in this year for the comp plan that we had to add.
The housing
Yes.
element.
Yeah, so currently we do not have a housing element in our comp plan. MVP is requiring it as of 25, so they decided they're gonna include that in. Technically, they wouldn't have to because the process started in 24, but it makes sense to include it.
I do need.
Well, that's gonna be interesting, because if it's done right, it's supposed to break down rentals and, not just big housing, but, looking at individual single-family housing and everything else, broken down. And you guys have a pretty good start on that with the database you have across town with all the rental housing. So, it'd be nice to see all that stuff compiled in one spot that makes it easy to see, do we have too many rental houses?
Doesn't the state
Not have
planning
enough?
already have some kind of a site that, I seem to recall a year ago or so, going to a meeting over in City Place, and he talked about the housing element, and he had a site there.
Yeah, I was at that meeting, but I can't remember.
Seemed to me that
Yeah.
he pulled something up and he could show the various types of housing we had at the,
Oh, yeah.
I'm certain
Huh?
there is.
What was that?
okay, you were there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not dreaming, okay.
Oh,
thanks.
wasn't it Maryland State Planning when they were?
It was Maryland State
Yeah,
Planning, it was,
Yeah, it was when we had them up here this summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a resource that we can pull from.
I'm sure they know that it was planning people were working
We've
with.
sat through as many meetings as he had. He
I know, it's
knows it very well.
It's like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar.
I don't know who's worse there, you or him.
I know. He's not making it up. I was there.
Dakota, the intern this summer, he did a lot of, research into upper story housing, as well, which we have data that, we'd be able to furnish that to the.
That's interesting.
I mean, here's a crazy one. Are you seeing turnover? Like, obviously Frostburg was very transient because of the college. Now that university numbers have risen as high as 60-some hundred kids, and we're back down to 4,000 some kids, I mean, there's a lot of housing units, rental units now that are being, other people other than college students are renting. So, then it's that question, the people that are coming, are they staying? And then are they moving up to other houses once they stay? I mean, I think that would be something very worthwhile to look at, is like the people that are starting out in lower, an apartment or some sort of rental unit. When they move out of them, are they staying in town, or are they leaving, finding out why are they leaving or why they're staying? I think that would be something to look into.
Yeah, something that I noticed, there was a B and B across the street and up from my place, the place with the big cast iron stairs. It's now got a rental, PPM's sign on there, so it must be out of the Airbnb business and now a rental. I'm glad to see that it got painted and cleaned up before it became a rental. I still place never in. I said, walk up, take a look at this. Color scheme they did was great.
So you thinking the Airbnb just didn't pay?
I have no idea. I'm just, as an Airbnb, I seriously doubt that they put a big sign on there that this is
Yeah,
rental.
I understand they're falling out of favor.
Airbnb.
Airbnbs, their usage has dropped. People are going back to the traditional hotels.
All right. Anybody got anything else to kick around?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right. Moved. Second?
I'll second.
All right, we're adjourned.
All right, I'm running.
Oh, Jamie. I have 7:44.
Oh, yeah, the entrance over there.
Jamie?
Yeah,
Earlier today,
Yeah,
we
very
sent out
rich
that
told me
email
back down,
when
like,
you only had 3 of us in the
Please
race.
don't let him do that.
In the past, that was
He said,
sufficient.
well,
We had
it's
4
above me, I
people.
voiced my
That was a
opinion.
quorum.
Barry
The
said
fact
no.
that he couldn't
Yeah, and,
vote
I
on
got
one
shot
of them
down. So,
didn't
I don't know.
didn't negate the fact that we could have continued on.
Supposedly,
Okay.
And then that, you only had 3 there, so there was no tie vote to be broken if needed to. So,
Okay, well, I guess that's.
business by coming down and
Yeah.
around the block.
Okay, thank you.
Ludicrous. Yes, but supposedly that's what he got outvoted. And he's number 2 now.
I'm just saying, that's how we ran it in the past.
Good luck.
Good night.
These people with the storage shed ever get back to you?
That's fine.
No, yeah, I mean, from what Ray had said, they probably are still waiting.
Yeah.
For, just to get the survey done.
Well,
Limited access down to.
we just don't want us to slide
No,
through the cracks.
they're on the radar.
Okay.
That just makes that really nice and control.
And the other thing is, when we approve something,
Traffic now cutting across.
we have a 2-year limit on time limit.
I'd have to check into.
Hey, Ray, do you recall? When we approve something,